I live in a cabin in the hills. It is beautiful there. There are rows of pine trees reaching up to the heavens, and a small stream in the valley down below. It is my paradise. But lately, my paradise has not been so idyllic. It started a few days ago. I was sitting on my porch, watching the sun go down. It is my favourite time of the day. The sun's rays seemed to bring the valley to life. As the golden light faded through the trees and the silvery moon started to light the stream down below, there was an ear-shattering scream that ripped throughout the valley, and birds shot out of the trees and into the night. I leapt out of my chair and looked towards the scream. There was nothing there. Raising my rifle, I peered down the scope, scanning the area. But still, nothing but emptiness. I waited a few moments before lowering my rifle. As I did, I felt my finger slide off the trigger. I didn't even realize my finger was wrapped around it. Walking inside my cabin, I shut the door, making sure it was bolted shut. As the night progressed, I tried to take my mind off the scream and reached for a book to settle my mind. Bang, bang, bang. Leaping off my bed, I ran to where the banging was coming from. I peered around the door and out the window. There was nothing there. Who the hell had bashed on my door so hard? I considered grabbing my rifle and looking outside, but the knot in my stomach told me not to do it. I stood quietly, listening intently, but I could not hear anything at all. It was deathly silent. Then it hit me. I couldn't hear anything at all. No crickets, no insects, nothing. The silence was deafening. This was ominous and unnatural. Returning to my bed, I turned out the light. Maybe it was time to get some rest. Sleep came fast, but it was not restful. I could see in my dreams children hiding outside in the tree line watching my cabin. The feeling of malice was almost too much to stand. Let us in. It sounded like a child whispering in my ear. Let us in or else. Tossing and turning, I was stuck in this dream and I could not wake up. They wanted something, but what? Let us in or else. We are going to rip your soul out of your chest. My eyes shut open and finally I escaped from that nightmare, sweat running down my forehead and into my eyes, stinging them. I did not sleep the rest of the night, and I cradled my rifle next to me in bed. The next few nights, the same nightmare would come to visit me. I could never see the children's faces, but they were always demanding to be let in. But tonight would be the night that all changed. I was too scared to go to sleep. I didn't want to have that dream again. As I lay on my bed, rifle next to me, a quiet knocking started on the window, almost like a gentle tapping on the glass. Getting off the bed with the rifle in hand, I started to sneak towards the window. Let us in. Those words were nearly a whisper, but they sent shivers down my spine. I knew that it was said by one of the children. Let us in. We are waiting. Frozen to the spot, I could feel my body starting to shake, and something warm started to run down my leg. Let us in, or else we will let ourselves in. I managed to reply in a shaky voice, Go away. The tapping on the glass started to become sharper and louder, almost like something hard was banging on the glass. Moving in the darkness, I came to the window. There was a small hand knocking the glass. It was white and bony. It looked like there was no flesh, and it repeatedly struck the glass. Let us in now. The hand disappeared into the darkness, and without warning, a face pressed against the glass. It was the face of a child. She looked like she was about 7 or 8 years old. Her face was pale and white. Her lips were an ashen grey colour, but the thing that scared me the most was her eyes. They were pure black. There was no white at all, just a deep, black abyss staring back at me. Raising my rifle towards the girl's face, I screamed at her, "What do you want from me? Let us in. We want to eat your soul." She screamed against the glass. I didn't even feel my finger squeeze the trigger as the bullet shattered the glass. The shards exploded outwards. The girl was gone before the bullet hit the window, and as the glass hit the ground, there was a laughter echoing all around the cabin. "Your soul, your soul, your soul," came a chorus of voices from around the cabin. Falling to the ground, I put my hands over my ears and yelled at them to shut up. Tears streaming down my face, I started to rock back and forth as I sobbed uncontrollably. After a few hours, the voices started to vanish into the distance, but there was one final warning. "We are hungry. We will have our meal." When the children had gone, I put some of my clothes into a backpack and I ran outside. I made my way to my pickup and put the keys in the ignition. It roared to life. Throwing the car into gear, I sped away from the cabin, promising myself I would never go back. Speeding through the winding roads, I was trying to put as much distance between me and the black-eyed children as possible, and my anxiety was starting to get lower. Coming around a bend, I saw it. There was a child standing in the middle of the road, and it was pointing its arm at the car with an outstretched arm. I was going too fast. I couldn't stop. I swerved to miss the girl on the road. My pickup flew over the edge of the embankment. I tried to keep control of the car, but it was no use. I felt the pickup leaving the ground, and I heard the impact as the pickup started rolling down the hill like a boulder pushed over the edge. I do not know how many times the car flipped over, but I do remember the pickup hitting the tree. Sitting in the driver's seat, I couldn't move. I'm sure I'd broken most of the bones in my body. It was hard to breathe. I could feel the blood running out of my mouth. It was getting harder and harder to breathe. I knew I didn't have much longer. I started to feel cold. So very cold. I managed to raise my head and I saw her. The little girl was standing in front of my pickup. She was smiling. As I felt my eyes starting to close, I'm sure I heard her say, "You should have let us in." Sarah and Daisy were walking down the dark hallway of their school. Footsteps echoed off the walls as they made their way to the dormitory. The girls had been enrolled into St. Mary's School for Young Ladies for a few weeks now, and they were finding the change to a religious school quite difficult. Always being on their best behaviour was hard, and they knew that the Mother Superior was a bit of a hard ass and would punish them for any infraction. The mother would punish them severely if they spoke out of hand. They'd be forced to kneel at the pews for hours in deep prayer, asking God for forgiveness. This day was no different. Sarah and Daisy were misbehaving in class, gossiping and laughing loudly. Crack! The sound made them jump out of their seats. They did not see the cane in the mother's hand as it hit the table in front of them. God does not like girls who cannot listen. Clearly, you two do not learn. Come with me, the mother said sternly. Sarah and Daisy followed Mother Superior down a long hallway. The stones in the hallway were illuminated by golden candlelight. Their shadows fell behind the mother. Mother Superior stopped in front of an old-looking wooden door. She pulled it open and looked at the girls. "Get in now." Grabbing Sarah by her blouse, she dragged her into the room. Sarah started to scream. It hurt Daisy's ears. Mother Superior emerged from the room and looked at Daisy with a cold, bitter look and said, "Now it's your turn. Get in the room." Daisy did not argue and walked into the room. The door slammed shut behind her with an ominous bang. The room suddenly fell into darkness. "You two will stay in there until I'm ready to come and get you. If I hear any talking, you'll stay in there forever." Sarah and Daisy were so frightened they didn't whisper a single word. The room was pitch black, and somehow they managed to find each other. Wrapping their arms around each other, and they started sobbing. softly and quietly. Eventually the tears stopped, and silence fell in the room. It was almost unbearable. Nothingness hurt their ears. "Hello," came a whisper in the dark. The girls didn't say anything, but they both heard the whisper. Sarah could feel Daisy's body starting to tremble. "Hello?" A voice. It sounded like a young man, but that'd be impossible. It was an all-girls school. "Hello?" The voice was louder, and it seemed like it was getting closer. The girls started sobbing again, and they held each other tighter and tighter. Sarah felt her hand touch her leg. She stifled a scream. The touch was ice cold. The coldness was spreading up her leg and into her stomach, and it started to cause her muscles to cramp. Click, click. The noise was coming from where the girls thought the door was. It swung open, and the Mother Superior was standing there holding a candle. "You can come out now, girls. I pray you've had time to talk to God and learn your lesson." Sarah and Daisy ran out of the room. They could see streaks on each other's faces. The mother shut the door and locked it behind her. "Go on, girls. Go back to your room now." The girls hurried off into the darkness towards the dormitory. The moon was full, and its silvery light shone through the window. Sarah looked towards Daisy, and as they walked, neither of them had spoken since they were locked in that hell. Sarah managed to whisper to Daisy, "Are you alright?" Daisy nodded her head slowly before she stopped, her eyes opened widely. "Sarah, who is that up ahead?" Sarah turned her head to look, and in the distance, she could make out a person standing at the entrance to the dormitory. I do not know." The figure started walking towards them, moving slowly with purposeful steps. They could not hear it as it walked. It was almost like it was gliding across the stone floor. As it got closer, Sarah could see it was wearing a priest's cassock. Its long black robes moved around his legs as he walked. He wore a deep purple vestment around his waist. It was emblazoned with a crimson cross, and it swung back and forth. It was strange to see a priest this late, and especially near the dormitory. The priest was getting closer. Sarah smiled and was about to greet the priest, but something stopped her dead in her tracks. "Hello, girls," came a familiar whisper. Daisy started screaming. "Where is his head?" Sarah looked at the priest, and only then she realized in horror there was a bloody stump where the priest's head should have been. Her blood ran cold, and she could feel the warmth leaving her body. Fear gripped her, and before she knew it, she was running. "Hello!" The voice echoed behind her. Sarah's legs were burning, but she kept running. She had a feeling that if she stopped, she would die. Glancing over her shoulder, she didn't see Daisy. "Where is Daisy?" Turning around, she could see the priest. He was getting closer, but she couldn't see Daisy. Sarah hoped her friend managed to get far away from this demon. Sarah suddenly noticed the priest had something in his right hand as he walked. It took only a moment to realize what it was, and Sarah's scream was heard throughout the entire school. The Mother Superior hurriedly ran to where Sarah was screaming and saw her with her back against the wall, her hands clawing at her eyes, blood running down her face from the scratches. In front of Sarah, there was something laying on the ground. The mother reached down and touched it. It felt cold and wet, and this thing felt like hair. Lifting it up to face her, she studied it for a moment. Then the mother dropped it and screamed. There was a soft, wet thud as it hit the ground. Daisy's head rolled out into the darkness and into the moonlight. Her unseeing eyes fell onto the Mother Superior, and Daisy's mouth fell open, and the Mother Superior swore. Daisy spoke to her. "You did this." Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's lullabies. If you like my content, please remember, like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to hear more scary urban legends, please leave me a comment down below. Also, according to the analytics, 80% of you are not subscribed. So if you enjoy my content, please subscribe. And remember, keep watching for what's in the dark.